All right, why don't we go ahead and get started? Good morning and good afternoon, depending upon which part of the country you're in. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out today to hear from Mary Grisby, who is the Senior Director of Operations at the Alzheimer's Association, in regards to their recent journey of consolidating their chapters across the nation into one entity and some of the challenges that presented for them. My name is Neil Morgan. I'm a managing partner at Morgan HR, and we've worked closely with Mary for a little while here in helping them with their merit and bonus process, leveraging our technology, Simply Merit. And with that, let me go ahead and turn it over to Mary. Go ahead, Mary. The floor is yours.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's really my pleasure to co-host this session with Neil today. And for the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about the organization I serve, the Alzheimer's Association, and our longest stay. We'll talk a little bit about the merger process, pre and post merger stats, and some of the impacts we had on our systems during that process, like compensation activities, merit incentives, promotions, things like that. And then we'll have introduction to Simply Merit and how we integrated our HRIS platform with Simply Merit. And then we'll kick it off in a quick demo with Neil and followed up by some Q&A. Next slide. So I just want to tell you a little bit about me and then the association. I'm an HR practitioner. I have lots of years of experience, 25 plus, and I specialize in comp and ben, payroll operations, policy procedure, data analytics, and really deep for HR technology. So this was right up my sleeve to work on Simply Merit. I have experience in corporate America and the nonprofit space, and I'm lucky to have been with the association 13 years now. A little bit about the association. We are the leading voluntary health organization in Alzheimer's care, support, and research. And we currently serve over 5 million Americans living with the disease and an additional 16 million caregivers serving those who are affected. Our vision is a world without Alzheimer's. We provide care and support to those affected through our free nationwide helpline that's available to constituents 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We educate and raise awareness to grow understanding of the disease. We accelerate research across the globe, and we funded more than $410 million in research and more than 2,700 proposals. And we advocate for the needs and rights of those affected by Alzheimer's through our advocacy arm of the association, the Alzheimer's Impact Movement. And through that effort, we've been able to create a national plan, the National Alzheimer's Project Act, which is really landmark legislation mandating a national plan to fight the disease. Next slide. So anyone can join the fight. You can be a volunteer. You can advocate by joining the advocacy arm of the organization. You can participate and volunteer through one of our fundraising events in our Walk to End Alzheimer's or the Longest Day. You can donate, or you can register to be part of one of our clinical trials trial match. Next slide. So today is the perfect day to highlight not only some of the longest days that the HR team faced during the unification process, but really about those constituents we serve. The Longest Day is one of our signature events, and we hold it on the true technical longest day, the summer solstice, to honor all of those facing and living with the disease, as well as those who have caregiving roles. They face the longest day every day. So what is this event? It's friends, families, coworkers, creating teams and participating in activities that are meaningful to them and hopefully fun too. You can see some of our national partners there on the screen as champions for our cause. I don't know about you, but playing cards with the bridge team or dancing with Arthur Murray sounds like a lot of fun. You can truly make it your own event. If you love to bake, bake. If you love to run, run. All while helping a worthy cause. So today we bring a little extra attention to all those challenges we hope to eliminate in the future and look to fulfill our vision, a world without Alzheimer's. So let's go to the next slide and transition to talk about that merger process, some of the activities that we encountered. Now I'll tell you, this isn't typical merger and acquisition activity. This was a friendly merger of sorts in that we were all focused and believed in the mission of the organization. We had about 60 days to merge 1,300 employees from 47 independent chapters into one organization, and that spanned the spectrum of 49 out of our 50 states. And we had some initial goals in that process. We wanted to harmonize payroll, benefits, and retirement plans. And some of the chapters maintain their own PTO programs, performance review systems, and merit process. And I'm sure I know what you're thinking, like, oh my goodness, that's 48 different ways to do things, and how did you do that? Well, part of it was let's harmonize what made sense to harmonize at the time, and payroll was really our first priority. Let's provide a correct paycheck for staff that were new to us. So we focused on payroll. Payroll had a variety of frequencies. Some chapters process payroll monthly, some semi-monthly. And while we were bi-weekly, we knew that there was a lot of communication we had to share with staff about the look and feel of their new paycheck, translating their old paycheck into what this new one would look like. On top of that, many of the chapters never used any HRIS system to manage payroll the same way that we do in the self-service piece that we have, where employees can go out and request PTO through a system. Many of them were still bogged down with some of the paper process. And when we did all of those things, we knew that there was a huge learning curve. So let's just get payroll right so that everyone feels comfortable in having a correct paycheck. So we looked at benefit plans. Many of the chapters maintained their benefit plans for 6 months after the merger, while we worked on creating a new plan for the entire organization. We had a different place in the market, so it was really important for us to go out and create a new plan for the entire organization. So while there was change coming for the chapters, it was really change for the entire association there. And so we managed a variety of benefit plans, deductions, and compliance was a little bit tricky too. So think about it. We had chapters that we brought in that ranged in size from 3 employees to 100 plus employees. And so compliance at a federal level and a state level was very different. Now that we're one organization, chapters that maybe didn't have to follow ACA regulations or FMLA or some of those other state programs were now under a larger organization. So compliance was key for us to get a handle on before we did all of those other things. Next slide. So pre-merger, I want to spend a little bit more time because this is what we're here about to talk about Simply Merit. What our pre-merger process was for performance and merit. So pre-merger, we had about 700 employees on staff, and we had a centralized process for performance reviews, merit, incentive, and bonus. And we did that. It was a harmonized process. Did it once annually, great. Where we were bogged down still is that it was all managed via spreadsheets. We didn't have any automation around that. But it was at least once annually, same cycle, awesome. Next slide. But post-merger, that looked very different. So we have 2,000 employees, and as I kind of hinted at earlier, the new chapters coming on, had their own review process. They were able to keep their own performance form and their own performance timeline. So that first year we were going through this, it was a decentralized process. Increases came in on a fiscal cycle or a calendar year cycle or an anniversary date cycle, and bonuses as well. And the chapters managed their own spreadsheets. And so no one spreadsheet was alike. The performance ratings were different as well. So we were trying to get a handle on that. And that first year was really just a learning curve to help us gather how chapters were processing all of that information and figure out how we were going to do that going forward. Next slide. So as we worked through that first year of kind of managing, oh, I'll say it's chaos. It definitely was. We knew that there were some processes that we needed to attack right away. One, how do we harmonize the merit performance process right away? To not only eliminate the administrative burden for everyone going through it, not just from the HR perspective, but from the chapter manager perspective. When we do merit increases here or pay any incentives or bonuses, we do confirmation letters. And as you know, when you're preparing merit spreadsheets and notification letters, there's a lot of time spent sending those out to individual employees or managers, and we knew we had to automate that piece of the pie as well. And we really wanted to implement a cost-effective solution. So in 2016, we connected with Neil, but we were so neck deep into other activities of the merger and trying to get our hands around payroll and benefits and retirement and compliance that we didn't take on Simply Merit at that point. But we knew we were very interested in the simplicity of that tool. So in 2017, we reconnected with Neil and talked about what Simply Merit would look like for us in the next year. Next slide. So Simply Merit, after meeting with Neil again, we knew that this was an initiative to go forward. And what we learned from Neil in that next connection is Simply Merit was part of the ADP marketplace. For us, that was really, really important. Not only as an ADP client, but ADP had vetted the solution and tested that, and we knew that it would integrate with our data. Not only is Simply Merit able to extract data from ADP, but it's in a format in such a way that we can get it back into ADP pretty easily. The implementation was less than 2 weeks. And what I loved about it, it really was a customizable solution. We were able to set that up based on our needs. So you can program your budgets in there. If you have a variety of incentive plans or multiple plans, you can create those. Different set of merit ranges, performance ranges, and you have a dashboard. However you want to look at that dashboard at a department level, at a division level, at whatever your org level is. And the process for managers was easy as well. So you identify the system knew who the managers were and it pulled those out. And so the Simply Merit tool is able to send out automatic notifications to managers. It lets them know where they are in the process. So for us, we spent a lot less time managing managers through this system, and we were more focused on the data and the transactions. We also spent a lot less time administratively. We didn't have to send the spreadsheets. If you're like many HR professionals who use the spreadsheet system, some of them send it in email, some of them send it hard copy through the mail, some of them are faxing it through. And so when somebody had a question, oh gee, was that electronic? Do I have to do my paper file? The system is great because you can look at everything and you can pull a report out and slice and dice it any way you want. I do a lot of things in Excel, and this gave me a way to pull that out pretty easily and customize some of the analytics I wanted around merit. It also was a quicker response time. I can go into that dashboard and look, if a manager had a question, I can get back to them pretty quickly because it was right in front of me. I didn't have to search for any of the documentation. And we also found that it was a really quick response time from the Simply Merit team. Usually within a couple of hours, we heard back, sometimes less than that. The huge win for me is it sent letters automatically. There's some customization in there to create your merit letter, put your language in there, but to send those out to the managers, in there, they can download those letters from the Simply Merit site. So from an administrative perspective, not having to send out those letters, which sometimes could take a couple of days or so, it's a huge, huge win. So with that, I know I've talked a lot about things. I'd love to turn it back to Neil. So Neil, could you use the tool?
Great. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and get control back, and let's take a look at Simply Merit. So Simply Merit is a cloud-based application. I'm going to log in here as an administrator, and we'll take a look just real quickly at some of the administration functions, and then we'll take a look at the user interface that the managers would see also. So we support integrations with a number of different platforms. As Mary had mentioned, they are on ADP Workforce Now, and we are able to pull their data into Simply Merit. We also integrate with your performance rating system. If you use a performance rating scale, you're able to identify recommended merit increase ranges for managers, and those are surfaced in the tool along with salary history, placement and range, if you've got market data, comp ratio, et cetera. So we're providing a lot of information to the managers to make a much more informed compensation adjustment decision. Data import process is how you pull data into the tool, and then at the end of the process is the export. In the middle here, budget amounts. So we're allowing you to establish the budgets that are pertinent to your teams and to your company as a whole. So we're calculating this merit budget number up here based on your data and how you're configuring the budget allocations within Simply Merit. So you can see exactly what that merit budget number will look like throughout the entire process. Down on timelines, we're doing some automatic prorations. So you set the cycle start and end date for your merit cycle, and then identify whether or not you want to prorate based upon date of hire if they're hired within that cycle start and end date period, or if they received a mid-cycle increase. And that applies both for your merit adjustments and your bonus allocations. The adjustment letters that Mary had talked about are configured here. We support two different letters, a merit letter and a bonus letter, but those can be combined into one particular letter if you want to combine both topics into a single letter for the employees. We support variables, Boolean logic, and this is free-form text, allowing you to identify, put in your own language. And then when you're ready to send those letters to the managers, it literally is click a button and the letters are distributed out to the managers at the end of the cycle. Throughout the process, you have a console where you can see exactly what's happening with your managers. So unlike with spreadsheets where you send the spreadsheets out and then you're chasing them down to get them turned back in on time, with the console here, you can see by manager when they were invited in. If they lose the invite, you can resend the invitation, when they last signed into Simply Merit, and then the status for the merit and bonus process as well. So those are some of the key points on the configuration side of Simply Merit. Let me sign out here, and I'm going to sign in as a director within the organization. We'll take a look at it from the manager's perspective. First and foremost, we have integrated help right into Simply Merit. So clicking on that Need Help button, depending upon which page you're on, it will show you different help topics. Short video clips on how to do the important actions that are available on each of the page, as well as overviews, frequently asked questions, etc. On the My Org page, this is a manager's and senior leaders and then the administrator's view of what's happening within their span of control. So I logged in as a finance director. My name is Ida. I have about $25,000 of budget available throughout my direct and indirect reports for merit. I can see how my part of the organization is tracking for merit, promotions, other adjustments, as well as how I'm tracking to my team. As I scroll down, I can see exactly what's happening within each one of the managers who report to me, all the way down to individual data points, as well as summary information at each of their levels as well. So I can see that Ariel has gone slightly over budget, but has not submitted that yet. I've got salary changes already approved for Zachariah, who came in at 100% of budget, and Paul, I've got a pending task waiting for me for an approval, and Paul is tracking slightly under budget. So all this information available to me on one screen, allowing me to see the summary and the detailed information, drill through the organization, as well as control the workflow for the approval process. On the My Team screen, this is where I go to enter in my merit or salary adjustments, as well as my bonus allocations. I can see how much budget's available to me. We do support 146 different currencies. So in this example, I've got multiple currencies represented by my direct reports. As we roll those things up, Simply Merit does the automatic currency conversion for you. I had mentioned previously that we can see salary history, placement and range, compa ratio, some other key data points for managers to make a better decision. The performance ratings are shown here if you use a performance rating scale. If not, that part of the tool is automatically hidden. We have the recommended ranges for merit increase available on the hover points. And then it's a matter of starting to enter in your merit adjustments. So 3% here instantly calculates the merit amount, updates the new salary, and updates my budget allocation. I can work in any one of these three fields. The other two will automatically update, as will this. Makes it easier so we're not just spreading the peanut butter, and you can be much more thoughtful in how you're allocating your budget for merit increases. In addition to merit, we support promotions, other adjustments, and lump sums. Comments at the end of line for each individual employee allow you to communicate through the tool to your manager and to HR, reasoning behind any requests that you're making. And then when you're ready to submit, you click submit, and then that will send off an email to the approving manager that there's an approval request out there for you. When the approving manager does approve, reject, or even modify that request, the requesting manager will also receive an email notifying them of any of those actions. So we're going for maximum transparency and leveraging email as a mechanism for communicating anything that happens within Simply Merit. On the bonus side, each employee, so I had the 3 direct reports, can have up to 5 bonus programs each. And we support a percent of base, fixed dollar amount, discretionary, and then the 4th bonus type is a subjective bonus type. It's a matter of identifying, are we paying this out at 100%, at 90%? What is the performance factor? It calculates the bonus earned. It's updating this allocation across the top here, and then the same workflow for submitting or saving and coming back later. From the approval perspective, I had an approval out here, so let me go ahead and approve Paul's submission. I'm comfortable with exactly where Paul is on his request, so I'm going to go ahead and click approve. Again, I have modify and reject as options. Both of those will trigger an email also back to Paul indicating that the request was either modified, approved, or rejected. Say okay. And then that approval is submitted back to Paul. So at a real high level and kind of a quick look, what we're going for here is simplicity. We recognize that this tool is used pretty heavily for a few weeks a year, and we don't want to create something that is so difficult to use that the managers are going to struggle with learning and reusing the tool each time that they come into it. I want to make it very obvious, as well as provide that context-sensitive help directly within the application. Now, if there are any questions, there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So if you move your mouse, it should pop that up. Feel free to type in any questions that you may have, and we'll give it just a minute to see if any questions come through before we wrap up today's webinar. So one question came through in terms of reports. Now, very good question. Thank you, Doreen, for asking that. The MyOrg screen represents a lot of the information that would be available traditionally in reports and a reporting interface. But what we've also done is we're in the process of releasing a new product called Simply Merit Insights, which will take your data and marry it with our consulting side of our business. Morgan HR is first and foremost a compensation and org design consulting organization who has taken it upon itself to build a merit tool for the customers that typically use Excel for this process. And with Insights, what we're doing is we're providing you boardroom ready analysis of your compensation environment, identifying trends, outliers, identifying any discrepancies and disparities, those sorts of things. And all of that will be in a pretty extensive report that will be generated from the data either during the process or after the process has been completed. We announced that this week at the SHRM show in Chicago and are wrapping up some of the development effort on that, and we'll be rolling that out in the relatively near future. So that'll be part of the offering. Trying to deliver more value from the fact that we do have such a deep, rich compensation consulting practice versus building in a reporting tool that does nothing more than drive up the price and give you some canned reports. So we're driving towards maximum value with Insights there. Another question came through in terms of typical company size that works, that uses Simply Merit. I think our range runs between 250 employees on the low end up to about 3,700 on the high end. And that's pretty much where we originally, when we rolled this tool out, identified our sweet spot would likely fall into. So between 25 or 250 employees up to 5,000 employees. As you grow beyond that number, you're typically working in larger HR systems like a Workday, SuccessFactors. They have strong compensation modules within them. But when you're in that 250 to the 5,000 range, you're working with other tools and HRIS platforms that may or may not have compensation as part of the offering. And we're a great add-on to those sort of platforms. So we partner with namely Criterion, for instance. We can plug into an UltiPro. We do have one of our customers switched over to Workday, and they're continuing to leverage Simply Merit for their merit process. They like it that much. So there's a little bit of background in terms of companies that we work with there. Okay, that looks like about all the questions that came through, and we're just slightly over on the time here at 1:32. So I appreciate everybody's time today and taking a look at the tool. Feel free to reach out to us on the website, either at www.morganhr.com or at simplymerit.com is the other website, www.simplymerit.com. And love to hear from you if you want to take a deeper dive into the tool. Be more than happy to walk you through more of the features and capabilities of Simply Merit. And Mary, thank you very much for your time and passion in putting together the presentation. I sincerely appreciate your partnership.
Thank you so much, Neil.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.